Star Wars Junkman back again in the junk room, and we're going to talk Star Wars. We're going to talk lightsabers.
Father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
One thing we all loved about Star Wars is the iconic lightsaber. What better weapon is there than the Star Wars lightsaber? It's not only a thing of beauty, it's totally badass. Kids love lasers and kids love swords. So put them together and it's the next best thing since peanut butter and jelly. Even if you're just holding an old cheap flashlight or maybe the cardboard tube from last year's Christmas wrapping paper, you felt like a 5th generation Jedi Knight swinging that cardboard around. But sadly, your grandpa's old flashlight and an old piece of cardboard tube isn't much fun for a Star Wars toy. That cardboard tube, it would break and unravel after about the 3rd time you hit your brother upside the head with it. What we all needed was a real lightsaber. But sadly, that's just a thing of fiction. Or is it?
This is my newest invention. It is a photonic lightsaber which I have invented using the principles of neon gas. Let's fire it up.
So what's the next best thing to having a real lightsaber? A toy lightsaber. And leave it to the great designers over at Kenner to give kids what they needed. So let's go back to 1977. Unlike the Star Wars action figures, Kenner could get the lightsabers out there by Christmas of 77. The toys, as you know, had to wait till 1978. But Christmas 1977, kids had their toy lightsaber. First thing you notice that this lightsaber is called a lightsaber, not lightsaber. This is one of the few times I've seen lightsaber. It's 2 different words, light, saber. When most of the time it's just put together as lightsaber. What should have been a cheap, easy toy to make, somehow Kenner overcomplicated the whole thing.
The Star Wars Lightsaber, new from Kenner, balloons not included.
No, it wasn't just a plastic tube hooked to a flashlight. That would have been too easy, right, Kenner? What Kenner decided to release was an inflatable tube hooked to a very cheap flashlight. In other words, the first toy lightsaber was more like a light-up balloon than a lightsaber. And when you first opened the box and looked at it, it looked more like a used King Kong condom than a lightsaber. The problem with this, after a few swings, the tube would just bend when you hit someone else's lightsaber. It looked more like something out of a Spaceballs movie than Star Wars. You couldn't really hit anything hard with this. And kids like to swing stuff hard. 1 or 2 good whacks to a tree, pop! There goes your lightsaber balloon. But don't worry kids, you know what also came with this lightsaber kit? A tube kit to patch the holes in your lightsaber. Just like those patches you used to use on your bicycle tube, you could use on your lightsaber. It seems your greatest enemy wasn't a Dark Lord of the Sith, but tree bark. I don't really know why Kenner came up with all this. It seems so simple. Just take a plastic tube and a cheap lightsaber and put them together. Even the bootleg companies back in 1977 were able to do this. I don't know why Kenner felt the need to overcomplicate the lightsaber. And sadly, it only came in one color.
Red.
No, not Darth Vader red.
Blue.
No. Not Obi-Wan blue. Not even Luke Skywalker blue. It came in, of course, yellow. That's right, Kenner once again trying to force kids to play with a yellow lightsaber. I still don't understand why Kenner has such a problem with lightsaber colors. Even our friend Larry Wampa's been trying to figure that one out. After about 8 tube patches and about 40 band-aids, it was 1980, and that meant a new Star Wars movie and a new lightsaber to play with. And this time we got 2 colors. We got Sith red and Jedi yellow. Again, there goes Kenner trying to make us play with a yellow lightsaber. One of the most iconic scenes in The Empire Strikes Back is Luke Skywalker fighting Darth Vader. Could kids play that? No, they had to use a yellow lightsaber. Again, I wish someone at Kenner would tell me what the deal with the saber colors are. This is a new and an improved lightsaber. But sadly, for some reason, it doesn't do what a lightsaber should do. Light up.
Light up your saber does not.
So there was no more nighttime fighting with your friends. One of the coolest features of this newer lightsaber is at the very top of the blade, carefully designed slits were made. So when you swung around the saber, it made a swoosh sound.
The Force is in my lightsaber.
woo, 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 woo. Sure, it was just air going into the hollow tube, but to us kids back in 1980, this was a classic lightsaber sound. Now before this was released, Kenner did have a whole different plan. The gyroscope lightsaber, which lit up, made sounds, and I guess kind of spin around on its own. Not really sure, because there's not a lot of information out there, but it's gyroscope, so maybe the lightsaber is going to spin around in your hand. Makes no sense to me, but Kenner canceled that line, so it doesn't really matter anyway. But this was the lightsaber all kids wanted. The balloon lightsaber from 1977, my brother had one. I don't remember many other kids having this thing, but by 1980, almost every kid, at least every Star Wars fan, and then some mild Star Wars fan, had the lightsaber. Another sad part about this, if you hooked it to your belt, the end of the blade would drag around on the ground. And after many walks around the neighborhood, that swooshing sound was no more. Because all you had at the end of your lightsaber was a huge hole eaten up by concrete.
The Force is in all things, even you, my young Jedi.
3 years later, and one movie later, we have the Return of the Jedi lightsaber. In red and
Blue, yellow,
Black.
red, 7.
green! Finally, Kenner did it! Now these are not really different from the 1980 lightsabers, which is called the Force lightsabers. Unless you count a new sticker that says Return of the Jedi. Which as a kid, this kind of bothered me. Why put a Star Wars sticker on a lightsaber? I would always rip mine off. Because I don't remember Luke Skywalker's lightsaber having a Star Wars sticker on it. Or even having a sticker on it that said the Force. But maybe it was there. The red and the green both had the same plastic handle, and it was the same handle that was used for the red and yellow lightsaber of 1980. They were not very detailed, and they were not based on really the lightsaber in the film. So being that these Return of the Jedi lightsabers are basically just the Empire Strikes Back lightsabers with a different color and a sticker, there's not really much more I can add to this part of the video. After Return of the Jedi, we started to see a decline in Star Wars, thanks to George Lucas and his plans to retire Star Wars at least for a while. However, in 1985 we were saved thanks to the Star Wars Droids cartoon. Not only did this mean a whole new set of Star Wars characters, it means another chance at a Star Wars lightsaber. We give you the Star Wars Droids Lightsaber. Again, we got two colors, red and green. Now I can't say every Saturday morning I'll watch the Star Wars Droid cartoon. By 1985 I had kind of moved on from Star Wars, sadly. At least for a while. So I can't tell you if there were any lightsabers even in the Star Wars Droids cartoon. If memory is correct, I don't remember there being a red or a green one. Maybe R2 had one in his dome? I doubt it. But I'm sure there's some Star Wars droid experts out there that's going to let me know if there were a lightsaber even in the cartoon. And one thing they could have done is made this more cartoon looking. But I guess if it wasn't in the cartoon, it was really no use going into that much detail. And this time the handle was totally redone and a lot better than the previous release handles. This was more detailed. Sure, it didn't look just like Luke Skywalker's or Darth Vader's, but at least it looked more like a lightsaber. The Kenner designers really took their time with the handle on this one. The major problem? This is the blade. Yes, that's the lightsaber blade. Extended. That's it. That's as far as it comes out. You're thinking maybe a telescope's out even more? Again, nope. This is the entire blade at full length. It looks more like something you might find under your sister's bed next to her Leif Garrett magazine than a Jedi Knight's weapon. And like most things in this droid line, this is a rare item to find. Out of the two, the red seems to be the hardest. With Star Wars dead, we didn't get much more attempts at a good lightsaber to play with. That's until the 90s when Kenner, now under Hasbro, relaunched the Star Wars line. Not only did they put Star Wars action figures back in the hands of kids, they also gave them lightsabers. The Luke Skywalker Jedi lightsaber was 3 feet long, and it would light up and make sounds. And the handle looked like Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. And one thing really cool, the blade was telescopic. However, for some reason, I don't know why, there's about a foot of plastic that hangs out of the handle. It won't push down. I don't know why it was so hard for Hasbro to find out a way to make that top plastic push down into the handle. It would take them a few more years to figure that one out, although it doesn't seem like it was really all that hard.
Luke Skywalker lightsaber and the new Darth Vader lightsaber, both with blazing extendable light blades and 3 real movie sounds, flash and strike.
Since then, we have gotten a dozen different lightsabers. Now I can go on to each one, but I'm a vintage toy guy and I really don't know about all that stuff, and they've done so many of them. I'll be here all day talking about each one. I mean, we've got prequel era lightsabers, we got the new saga lightsabers, we got more of the classic lightsabers, we got lightsabers I've never even seen before. But I will say this about today's lightsabers, they are a lot more impressive than what we had as a kid. Kids today can build their own lightsabers, or you can spend a little extra money and get a very detailed lightsaber. Like this one right here, the Black Series. That looks and feels almost like a real lightsaber. And I know I collect vintage stuff, but hey, who can pass up lightsabers like this? As you can see, in the last 40 years, the lightsaber toy has come a long way. So let's hope in another 40 years, maybe, just maybe, we will have a real working lightsaber by Hasbro. Of course, if it's by Hasbro, you probably won't be able to find it in the store. And if you did, it'd be about $600. But anyway, that's our look at the lightsabers. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, or if you didn't, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. And until our next video, go over to StarWarsJunk.net so you're always in the Star Wars know.